So let's begin our rose pruning topics. The first thing we're going to talk about is safety in the garden.
One of the things you can do is I painted this glove for my left hand, which is my free hand. So when I'm snipping, I see this hand, and I make sure I keep my pruners away from my fingers. If I get scratches or wounds when I'm pruning, I like to clean the wound and put a antibiotical thing like Neosporin or something like that on it, and put a Band-Aid on it. Anyone who works in a garden should get tetanus shots periodically, and you can ask your healthcare provider for guidance as well. As you see, I like to keep all of my rakes, shovels, and forks standing up, so that way I don't trip over them and do a circus act in the garden. And also, I painted them nice bright red color for me, because it looks pretty, and it makes them easy to see.
Now, TJ, we're going to talk about the 3 basic pruning methods. We're going to start with our first one, which is pruning top to bottom. What can you tell us about that?
One of the most popular pruning methods is top down. And what you do is you start here and you start snipping with your bypass pruners like this, and you just kind of work your way down. Or you can use your loppers if you like and just go like this. And what you're doing is you're just kind of helping to lower the height of the rose bush so you can see down into here where you can make some of your final cuts.
TJ, next we want to talk about pruning bottom to top and why you think that's the best pruning method for most people.
This is the bottom-up pruning style, and this is my real favorite because I have my knee pads on, and I have so much more torque with my pruners. I make my snips and things like this, and right here I'm close to my bud union here. If I make snips in this area here, it's always so much easier, quicker, faster. And if I have to use my big pruners, which I love these little 24-inch loppers, you get in here and you have so much torque, they're so easy to use, and pruning is so much fun.
Finally, TJ, I'd like for you to talk to us a little bit about the hacker method and why so many people seem to be using it.
The hacker pruning styler method is very, very simple. This is used by a lot of people who are confused about how to prune their roses. Do I look for a 3-leaf or a 5-leaf? Is this supposed to do a 45? I guess. Here. And maybe there. Oh my goodness, the phone's ringing. Oh goodness, I'm not sure what I'm doing, but I'm saved by the phone. Hey, world peace. Oh my goodness. Oh, I gotta go. All right, folks, I gotta take this phone call. So much for the hacker method.
TJ, now it's time for us to take a deep dive. We're going to discuss the 3-step quick prune method. Take it away, TJ.
It's time to talk about the 3-step quick prune method. And you know, I use this method on various categories of roses such as hybrid teas, grandifloras, floribundas, minifloras, shrubs, miniatures, austins. I use it on all kinds of roses. If it's a rose bush, I use this pruning method on them, except for climbers, pillars, historic roses, and some of those old roses. They have kind of like their own guidelines, so you should look for those and prune those in that manner. Before we actually do any pruning on the rose bush, we do an overview. And what this does is that it helps us to get an idea of what we're going to do. And when you know what you're doing, it is so easy to prune a rose bush. So the first step one is remove spindly growths. Spindly, weak, diseased, frozen, damaged, any of the above. So right here, in this size comparison to this one, this one, this one, or this one here, we can see this growth right here. It's in the middle, it's spindly, so we snip this one off right about there, snip that one right off right about there, and take this one off right about there. And then take this one off, take this little lateral off right there, and then we come over here, take this little one that's spindly, and take this one off right there as part of step one. Now, step two is looking for canes, like this one here, which have laterals coming from them, like here, 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 and here. And we're going to cut roughly 4 to 6 inch spikes right here. And we look to do it to this one right here as well. Cut a spike right about there, right about shorter one there, because see where it breaks right there, goes that way. Going to cut it right there, and then snip this one right about there. And the reason we're going to do that is that we want lots of blooms on this bush. And then step 3 is look for these nice, beautiful, healthy, large canes. And we're going to cut these to about the same height as these. So once we got this all figured out a little bit, then you can just prune away and just have a good time pruning this rose bush and getting it whipped into shape. In step 1, we reviewed removing the weak, tired, spindly growth. So let's try and do this. So I'm going to put my pruner right here. I'm just going to wedge it in there and snip it right there. Okay? And then we talked about this one right here. And what I'm going to do right here, that's kind of a little difficult to get in right there. I got a little piece of nub right there. I'm just going to prune that off right there. And since that's a little hard to get to, I'm going to use my little pruning saw. These little reciprocating saws work really, really nice. You just got to be careful with them. And then we're going to take this one off right here. And we talked about taking this one off right there. Okay? And then we talked about, I'm going to spin the rose bush so you get a little better look at this one right here, perhaps. Right here. Okay, can you see this okay? Whoop. We're going to take this one off right there. Okay? And right there. See that? We make flush cuts, which is really, really nice thing to do. So you can see on step 1 how this rose bush looks different already. We removed this stuff out of here on the middle as much as possible. We kept all the nice canes. We're going to cut spikes. I'm going to remove that leaf right there. And we're going to snip just above a bud. So I'm going to snip I'm going to find a bud here right about there. There's one right there. So I'm going to snip there, there. I'm going to find it right there, and right about there. And you see all the spikes, all these spikes, all your blooms are going to come off these new spikes right here. And let's go right here. And we can see these right here. So there again, I'm going to trim the spikes right there, put them right there. And I'm going to trim this one right about there. And I got on this one here, I got to take a look on this side, and I see the buds right there. So there we go. Now we've got this step 1, step 2 done already. We're going to prune these roughly the height. So we're going to go like this right here. And I'll prune this one right about there. And there we go. We have this rose bush all pruned and ready to go. So where are the buds? So right where this leaf is right here, I'm going to pull this leaf off. And can you see that little dot right there? That little dot right there? Right there. Can you see it? Little dot? That's a bud. And that bud will become a cane just as big as this one. Has that great potential. So we say snip above the bud. I put my blade just above the bud like this, approximately 1/8, some use 1/4, 3/16, something like this. And then you just snip, just like that. And right there it is. That's a perfect snip. And you can see there's that little bud eye right there. Now each bud eye has 3 buds within it. So if this one didn't come out, something got damaged, Mother Nature protects this one. So sometimes you'll see where you have 1 bud eye and you have 3 pieces of growth come out. That's because each bud eye has 3 little eyes to it. So the first thing we do again in pruning the rose bush is doing an overview of the canes and taking a look at it. So we can see this one right here, like this one right here, this one right here. These are some of your nicest canes. These 2 right here, even though they're in kind of the middle of the bush, they're perhaps some of the nicer looking canes. And this one right here is one of the nicer looking canes right there. And this one right there as well. So we're going to take a look at that. Those are the really nice ones. And then we see some weaker ones like this one right here. That's weaker. And we see this little shoot right here. That's weaker. And when we see this one over here, because you see this one right here is really nice, and you see this one here has these different laterals coming off of it, I'm really going to probably take this one off right there and take this off right here. And then we'll take a look at them. We'll cut some spikes perhaps over here on this one right here. We'll take a look at this. But we'll take this a step at a time and see how we progress. So let's take this off right here. This one right here and this right here. Let's just reach right there and just grab with this lopper right there, okay? And there again, we're using that system where we're going bottom up. And this one right here, see this one right here, right there? Let's take this one off right there. You see this one, how it breaks up here, comes up here? You know, maybe we could work with that a little bit. We'll see. But I'm going to take this one off right here. It's kind of crossing over in the middle. I'm going to reach right there and grab that one right there. See that right there? I'm going to take that one off right there. And so I always like taking off the obvious weak growth. See this one back here, right back there? Can you see that? Got my printer right there. I'm going to take that one off. And then we see this right here. This one right here. See that one right there? That's real obvious. That's not as nice as the others. So we're almost got step one completed. We're going to take this one off right there, right there, right there. And we look at this one right here. That's got some potential. It's very interesting. I'll show you what we're going to do on that one. So we've kind of completed step one. So you can see how this looks now. And do a little cleanup there. Now let's cut some spikes. So I'm going to go right there. I'm going to take this off right here. I'm going to cut a spike right about there. Right about there, just above a bud. And right about there. There's a bud there. I'm going to cut it. There's a bud right there. I'm going to cut one right there. And I'm going to snip this thing in the middle here. And I'm going to snip that off right there. Okay? And then I'm going to come over here. And I'm going to snip this one right there. Because I want more. I like lots of blooms. Okay? And now you can see we've got these nice, healthy, long canes. I'm going to cut these off to about the same height as these. So we're going to go snip, 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 and snip. And there you go. There you have that rose bush. And then I give it a good look over. What do I like? Am I going to change anything? Now some people say take these ones out of the middle. But for me, I like lots of blooms. And I always like giving things a second look over. And I give a second look over. Sometimes I'll just trim things just a little bit extra here, a little bit there, just so I have it the way I want it to be. And this is how I want it to be. And let me see, look at one more chance. Right there, right there. Always good. Give it a second look over. You can always take more off, but once you take too much off, you can't put it back. So there we go. And I just go like this, and this one's all whipped into shape.
The last thing we're going to talk about this afternoon are the important tools of the trade, what every rose pruning gardener needs to keep in their garage.
Let's talk about my favorite pruning tools. I love my muck boots, M-U-C-K boots. You can buy them online or stores. And I love my gel-filled knee pads here. And I love gloves. I got a cuff on them, so this way it helps protect your wrists from the thorns around where you get your hand around the roses. I like using little Clorox wipes to wipe down your pruning tools periodically. And because when you're doing pruning, you do like doing surgery, and you help prevent transmission of pathogens between plants. I have these wonderful diamond embedded sharpening stones. And they are so swift to give you a nice clean edge on your pruner, just like that, angle like that. You just go back and forth a little bit. That's sharp. And then I have, of course, my pruning saw. And then I love my big fork. This fork is so wonderful. having great tools will last you a lifetime, and the cool thing about it, it makes gardening fun. So much fun that you can just pick up these canes and just take them where you need to take them and just have a good time. Today I shared with you my pruning style. What's really most important is that you develop your own pruning style, and so that you prune like a pro.